Hi everybody, I'm Alice K. Reckelhouse from Threshold of Hineni and the Widow Reckelhouse, and today we're talking about St. Therese of Lisieux. This is a picture that I have in my bedroom of her because I just admire her so much, and this is painted by Sue Kuma Johnson. I'll have the link below so that you can see her shop on Etsy. I love her paintings, and I have actually several saints that she painted that I am putting up in my house. But St. Therese, okay, so it's quite an accomplishment that she's one of my favorite saints because she is the second most favorite saint of all people, I guess, is what they say. I don't know, like, if they took a vote someplace or what. But anyway, St. Francis is the most popular, and then St. Therese is the next popular. And in general, I guess I'm kind of contrary, because if something is everybody's favorite thing, then I don't like it. So it's just the way that I am. I want to be different, you know. And so, but I could not resist St. Therese. She really is just amazing. This is her as a little girl, but she died when she was 24. And both of her parents are also canonized saints, which is really cool. You've got this, not the entire family canonized saints, because she had 4 other sisters, but the parents and the daughter are canonized saints. She's the patron saint of missions and florists, and since she's called the Little Flower, that makes sense that she would be the patron saint of florists. But why is she the patron saint of missions when she was never even a missionary? Well, the reason for that you'll hear about when we talk about a murderer, okay? She had a heart for lost sinners to be brought to Jesus, and that was something that God gave her at a very young age. I think it was when she was 12, but I'm not sure. Anyway, so here's the story that goes along with that I think is just so beautiful. She wanted to start praying for sinners to come to Jesus, and so she saw some articles in the newspaper about this murderer in Paris. She was from France. This murderer named Pranzini, and he was convicted of murdering 3 people and was completely unrepentant. And so I'm going to read to you part of the story about her. It says, Therese feared Pranzini being lost for all eternity. To avert that irreparable calamity, she decided to employ all the spiritual means she could, and so she began to offer the infinite merits of our Savior and the treasures of the Holy Church for his salvation. At 4:30 a.m. on August 31, 1887, the door to Pranzini's cell opened to reveal 2 guards and a chaplain. At this, it said that the prisoner turned pale. Pranzini's step became noticeably less firm as he made his way to the prison gates. These opened to reveal a public square, and at its center, a scaffold. At that point, he still had not repented. He had not given any evidence that he had repented, that he had turned to Jesus or anything. And Therese asked God, she said, I know that I should just have the faith that you're going to answer my prayer, but this is the first time that I've prayed for a sinner, and so would you just give me some sign that you've heard me and some sign that he's turned to you? And as he walked up the steps, he hadn't had any confession or anything. He had not done anything to show that he repented. But right before they put his head to the guillotine, or the neck to the guillotine, I guess you would say, he turned to the priest that was there and he grabbed the cross and he kissed it 3 times. He kissed the wounds of Jesus. And so that was Therese's proof that God had answered her prayer. And she continued to just have this amazing heart for people, for sinners. When she was 15, she wanted to enter the convent. She had 4 older sisters, and they had all become nuns too. I think they were all at the same convent, but I'm not sure about that. Anyway, she wanted to enter the convent, and they had told her no, she needed to wait until she was 21. She'd appealed it, but in the meantime, her father and she took a pilgrimage to Rome, which, you know, that's not that far from Paris. It's not as big a deal as it is for, like, as Americans to go there. But they took a pilgrimage to Rome, and they had an audience with the Pope. They weren't supposed to say anything. They were just supposed to kiss his hand, and, you know, he was going to bless them and stuff like that, but not say anything. She was brave enough to ask the Pope if she could enter the convent early, and he told her to wait, and if God wanted her to, then she would be able to through the proper means. And the way that she tells it in her biography, she just stayed there and she held on to his hand. Other stories say that she actually threw a temper tantrum there and held on to the Pope's hands or his feet. but even in her biography, she says that the Swiss Guard had to actually carry her out. So I like that story because it just shows how human she was and how imperfect. And I just really appreciate hearing about how the saints were not perfect. They were people like us. So we can be inspired by them to follow them, to try to be as close as possible to Jesus, knowing that sometimes we are going to mess up too. We're human beings, and so were they. And a lot of times when we read about the saints, we just read all the good things that they did and everything. And so it makes us feel like, well, we can't be like that. They're different from us. But they're not, really. They're just as human as we are. It's just that they really, really focused on being close to Jesus. And that's what we should be doing too.